Welcome back to the Shine Within podcast. Jeannie is a certified emotion code, body code, and belief code practitioner dedicated to helping clients around the world release trapped emotions, negative energies, and limiting beliefs. Using holistic, non invasive techniques developed by Dr. Bradley Nelson, Jeannie supports individuals in creating an environment within the body that promotes self healing. Her work focuses on addressing the root causes of issues like trauma, chronic pain, and emotional distress, guiding clients towards long lasting wellness and balance. Wow, Jeannie. And I have to say this to the audience. I had a magnificent session with Jeannie yesterday, and things are moving out of my body. And I experienced some wonderful, exciting things to me last night. And I feel renewed actually today. And so I just want to say thank you, Jeannie, for helping me because I'm always looking for different modalities to help. But I'm so curious about this, what you do, because I've never had it done to me before. And I've had many things done to me. And I know it's been out for a while, but I'm so grateful that I've actually experienced with you. So thank you so much for being on my show and sharing this magnificent modality to my guests today.
Well, I thank you for having me, and I'm glad you had such a good session.
Oh,
Um,
you're so
oh,
awesome.
because we don't realize that we hold on to these emotions when we're not actually feeling them and letting them move through. They're balling up in our body, and they could be, you know, little anywhere from your little pinky toe to your skull brain. They could be anywhere in your body, and these modalities help find them and release them. And it brings relief and ease, and your heart wall. I was wondering if you're feeling any lighter in your heart today for the little bit that we got to get rid of yesterday.
Oh,
um
yeah.
just it brings the ease and a peace to your body once you start letting this stuff flow through and experiencing emotions for what they are instead of what you've lived through.
Right.
You start releasing that, and living in the moment is much
And
easier.
totally. Yes. And then can you just tell us a little bit about your journey and what actually led you to become a certified emotion code, body code, and a belief code practitioner? I want to know how it started.
Well, mine was through pain. I have a lot of it was neck issues that got me started. Reverse curvature, arthritis, degenerative disc, and blah blah blah. All this stuff. 2 years with a neurologist, and their only answer was pain medication. I'm like, that's it's not an option for me. I don't want to go down that road and live that way. I'm too young for that.
Yeah.
But it started out as I went to acupuncture, and I would get a little bit of relief, but it just wouldn't stay. Then I started with crystals, and I would get a little relief. I would literally sleep with a stone in the crook of my neck because it would bring
Oh,
me ease to sleep. Well, then I moved on. I learned Reiki. I had a Reiki session. I'm like, ooh, and this would last even longer. So when I took one, then I was like, ooh, okay, I need to know a little bit more. And then I took two, and I'm like, I gotta know more.
yeah.
So then I started getting into like the energy part of it and starting to understand that, time is irrelevant, distance is irrelevant. And I was like, this is fantastic. And then I just ran across Dr. Bradley Nelson's book, The Emotion Code. And I was like, I need this. Ooh, my family needs this, you
Yeah.
know? And once I started releasing and seeing the difference in, because we all of the siblings, we all process differently. And just, because of course they let me practice on them when I was a beginner.
Yeah. Lucky
And
though for
just
them.
releasing and letting go the feelings in your body was fantastic. So then I jumped into body code, which helped again because it's very specific to pain issues on, in the body, then realizing traumas. I had a history where I had a spirit break.
Mm.
And, when you have had your heart, literally your spirit breaks, your spirit
Mhm.
heart breaks, and you have to mend that and release those issues to be that whole piece of you again, if that does that make sense?
Totally.
And so it's just been one after the other. And then that was kind of the body code where you can find the trauma, the spirit breaks, just to make sure that your body's happy. Because during this, we connect to your subconscious. So it knows everything about you. And that's who I'm asking questions to get through the system, okay, is it right, left, just to find
Yeah.
everything I can to from your subconscious. And then it moved into the belief code, which is it's been developed over the last 7 years, but they just started certifying in October. And I was part of the first class. And when I seen this one, oh, I was like, because we're programmed constantly. They're
Yeah.
constantly feed negative programs and our limiting beliefs and faulty core beliefs and faulty core identities. And, it took a lot in my life to get rid of being unworthy. And to me, that was my first one I wanted rid of, because it has always beat down on me. So once that was finally gone, it was like, oh, it's like this is what everybody needs to feel. So you just want to share because it's just beautiful to be free.
Oh, it's so transforming, right? It's like, wow, you feel brand new and you're like, what was I missing this whole time?
Right?
Yeah, they really screw us up this world, huh? With these limiting beliefs and these conditions and everything. It's like, come on, we want to know who we are and we want to be pain-free and we want to feel good. And we want to
Yes.
share with others too, because we want everyone to feel just like we're feeling.
Yeah, that's
Now,
I mean, to get the idea out of, do you even know this is available to help you feel better? Because it's
and no medicine, no
no.
medicine. I mean, that is the best thing because I'm not a fan of pills. I know they're necessary. If, for example, I had a very bad fall in my drunken state and I split my knee open. They had to give me morphine. Of course, I appreciate those medicines at the time because I was in severe pain. But I'm talking about medications that the doctors are constantly prescribing, prescribing, prescribing. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try this one. That didn't work. But then you're also getting another type of symptom that's like, wait a minute, now I'm feeling this. Now I don't want to feel this. Well, let's give you medicine for that too. Now you see that you're on 10 different medications and
Yeah,
it's
it's
destroying
a
our
slippery
bodies.
slope, a very slippery slope once you get on there. And this can help. I mean, it's not a fix all. I mean, because it does take different modalities to hit different points. I mean, even I go to different energy workers because you have to have that whole range in order to get rid of all of it. But this was the most comprehensive one to hit, the traumas and all of that to be released. Because I mean, one of my clients just watching the transformation. Now, this is multiple months and multiple sessions, but to go from this jittery, hyper spasmodic person to being able to sit and chill
Wow.
and not, you know, have to be doing, and that sort of hyper addictive personality. And,
Mhm.
it can be released, but it takes, a little time and to bring you that ease in your body again. And it's beautiful.
Well, now have you worked with clients who have sort of addictions when it comes to alcohol or drugs? Did you work with any of those types of people?
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
wow. And what were
Yeah.
the results?
That was one of
That
the,
was one of them, right?
yeah. And
Wow.
it
So
was,
he was just jittery. I mean, it's crazy because here for me, I suffered a lot from anxiety before. I shared with you my past trauma. And I was always a nervous wreck. And then I would drink alcohol to try to relax me. But I would have anxiety the next morning, which I would be all nervous. And the only thing that would make it better was alcohol. So I would just drink. That was like my medication. And then that's awesome to see someone who is jittery and have that anxiety and has an addictive personality just to be chill and content.
yeah, I mean,
That is awesome.
because a lot of the work we did remote, and when I finally got to actually go meet them in person, I was like, "Who are you? I don't even know you anymore. This is awesome." So it's just, I mean, it's astounding to watch, when you get
Wow.
to see the whole progress of everything that happens. But it's beautiful, it's life-changing, and it's simple. I mean, it really is simple, like a body code. It's like 45 minutes. and then of course, you have your processing time afterwards, but to let everything flow through, but it's easy and
That's so
no
awesome.
trauma.
Now, how do you actually go ahead and identify and release trapped emotions and negative energies in the body? I know
So
you shared with me a little bit, but maybe to our audience.
yeah, so how I work with a magnet, and some people run it through your governing meridian, or I'll release it through my hand because I'm standing in as proxy for you. And I just release 3 little swipes and let go. And I make sure that it's been released through muscle testing and send it on its way. So all you got to
Wow.
do is process.
That's awesome. Now, you talked a little bit about the subconscious and what's the role of the subconscious in the healing process? Because that was something new to me. I was like, this is pretty cool. And how can identifying the subconscious beliefs lead to lasting wellness?
Well, it's like a tiered system that we have, like the simple, like the negative programming, which has been fed to us,
Mhm.
and then the limiting beliefs that we develop because of this. And then it gets like to the faulty core stuff, which because a lot of them are developed like before 7,
Mhm.
how we're raised and how we're told things are supposed to work. And, you have to get rid of each and every layer before you can release the whole thing. So if you go in and, you're working on being unworthy, it could be a multitude of things. Like I said, with me, it was like 4 different sessions I had to do on myself, but I knew that that was a huge issue for me. But in order, got rid of limiting beliefs because they kind of come down to the same core, but you have to get like every angle of everything all the way out in order to feel free. And it works the same thing with traumas. Like if you have a trauma, you have to get everything behind it that it's caused in order to come back up and
Mm.
release the trauma from the body. So
Wow.
it's
No, yeah, it's amazing. Like, I want everyone to know about this. That's why I'm so excited to have you on my show because a lot of my listeners are all about holistic healing. They want to stay away from medications. They've suffered through trauma, addiction, and they want to find different ways to make them feel better without pills and things like that.
yeah, I mean like this simple one because I do this, on like my husband all the time, but you can like he's like come home from work and he's like, honey, would you please look at my back? And
Hmm.
he's like, we're working on dinner. He's like, I'll take this. He goes, just go look at my back. And literally, I can come back here in my little space and I'll work on him for a few minutes and I'll come back out. He's like, oh God, thank you. Whatever that was, it's gone. So, I mean, because
Wow.
it can change it that fast. I mean, of course, I've done a lot of work on him, but it can change it that fast just to release it from the body as you pick it up, you know.
Yes. He's lucky.
He's got me here all the time.
Right, right. Now, for someone new to this type of healing, what should they actually expect their very first session?
The very first session, it's really simple. I mean, I get your permission. I pray in for assistance, and we start from like I sort of our subconsciouses kind of talk to each other. Okay, we've got this much time, and you got how much energy are you ready to release? Because like when you work on the heart wall, it's only going to let you release so much that it knows that it can handle in a processing time. So it doesn't, because your subconscious doesn't want to send you over the top into, an emotional breakdown. Now, some people that's part of the processing time. A small percentage of people will have like an emotional upheaval.
Mhm.
But I mean, 10 to 15%, and it can be managed, with grounding and touching a tree, drinking water, moving your body to get it out. But losing my train of thought.
That's okay.
But I mean, it's very simple. We just, I'll tell you everything that I get as it comes out, and we release it as we go. Because like once your body recognizes it, then I say, oh yeah, we don't want that. We're going with the subconscious. Okay, let this go. We don't want this anymore. And once you recognize that you don't want that, it's there it goes. If you
Right.
want to hold on to something, it's not going to give it to you.
Yes. Now, in your opinion, what role do misalignments, toxins, and pathogens play in physical and emotional health according to the body code system?
Well, the toxins that can be anything from spider bites
Mm.
to cleaning chemicals to, I mean, you name air pollution, it could be anything, and it can get trapped physically in the body and it can get trapped energetically in the body.
Oh, wow.
So you got to get rid of both and make sure they both get released. I've had like strange ones who had it was like a metal. They had a metal and it was an unusual metal in their system. And we come up with the age that it happened, and they're like, because they had done some stuff as a teenager and they were like somewhere where they shouldn't have been
Yeah.
and slipped and fallen, and they had cut themselves on this specific metal. And just from that, it had entered their system, and we didn't get it out till, 25 years later.
Wow.
And as it was just from, having access to it. So, and spider bites do that, any kind of chemicals, it could be literally anything. And but like the misalignments, a lot of them get in your vertebrae and your disc, and they're very minute, like where the emotion balls up, and it's just enough to start that, but then you get another emotion, and then you get
Mhm.
another emotion, and it's like, okay, I'm even a little bit further off than I was. And once you release them and you breathe it out, and it'll just, things kind of just fall back into place to where they're supposed to be. So,
Yeah. Oh, and that's what I'm experiencing now too. Like I was just telling you yesterday that whatever I was experiencing, it had to process and go through that. And then I much better now. And it's like, oh wow. And then I'm gonna, because you said 4 days, right? My process is for about 4 days worth. And so I'm looking forward to the fourth day too. I'm gonna see what happens. But it's
yeah, I mean, but I've
amazing.
had them as long as 14 days, so don't feel
Yeah.
bad with four.
Oh,
So,
14 days. Yeah. Everybody's different. Everybody's body's different. And yeah, so we can expect. Um, Now I know there's some people who are like, what is she talking about? I don't believe this stuff. I'm skeptical. What are some of the common misconceptions about emotional or emotion code and body code, and how do you actually address them with new clients?
well, people, they don't give you have your physical body, your spiritual body, and your energetic body, and you have to take care of all three. And this is not what we've been taught growing up, you know. Take care of the physical body, cram all that other stuff down, and the other stuff is what you have to get out. So, I mean, even if somebody's say, what's the one we take out all the time, the appendix,
Hmm.
it'll come up as a misalignment in the appendix where they're like, "Oh, I don't even have an appendix." Well, energetically, you do, because your body thinks that's a trauma because you removed it.
Yeah.
So it could be a misalignment. So you want your energetic body on the same playing field as your body. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, the body remembers. It remembers.
Everything. And well, the subconscious doesn't forget anything either.
Right.
That's how it knows, what you're ready to get rid of, and what you're going to be able to process on the first time you work on it. So,
Yes. Now, what advice would you go ahead and give to someone who wants to start releasing emotional baggage but may feel hesitant about it?
don't. I mean,
Be open, right?
well, it's just that freedom. It's like you don't even know what you're holding on to until you let it go. And then you're like, oh, I'm lighter, getting rid of your heart wall. And, that we develop that over our whole life. Every
Yeah.
time something big happens, yes, it protects you, but at the same time, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So, you're not really even experiencing emotions. It could be, or they can be extreme. I've
Yeah.
seen both. Either they're not feeling or not, they can't express emotion, or it's just off the charts, So it kind of helps you be in a like a more even keel in life, where you can say, just the dog barking, you don't have to lose your mind. You say, okay, hush, that's enough, instead of bouncing off the wall saying, you know,
Y- You must have been talking about the dog next door to where I live because that dog is a little chihuahua. I have had chihuahuas before, so I know they're very barky, but this one barks at everything. Even when I'm just getting my package from front of the door, even though it's inside the house, I hear it barking at me.
yeah. Well, that's funny that you say that because I work on animals too. I don't just work on humans. I work on animals.
You know what? I was thinking
They
about
have
this question too for you about, hey, do you work on animals? And so that's so awesome that you brought that up. How is that experience?
it's really neat. Of course, I've worked on other animals, but like stories with mine, I have a horse and
Oh, wow.
she's older. I've had her for 20 years. She's like 28. Well,
Wow.
she got to where she wasn't coming out of the barn. I mean, she would
Mm.
stay in there, eating there, lay in there. She just didn't want to come out on the pasture. And I'm like, that's been nearly a month and she's just not being herself. I was like, so I'm just going to sit here and do a quick session on her. And she had, some emotions, but what caught me that she was worthless.
Mm.
And it's because she's not rideable anymore. And released the emotions from her, and within 24 hours, she was back out, grazing and moving around the pastures and this and that. And, because she doesn't do anything but mow the grass now. And that, she had that trapped in her that she felt worthless. So it just it broke my heart.
Oh,
Still, I mean, she's out and about doing her thing now. So
wow. Oh, what a beautiful story.
it is
Oh, I
it's
want to give your horsey a huggy. I love horses. I wish I owned one. I
a
mean,
lot of work,
townhouse, a lot of work.
a lot of work.
Very expensive. I heard maintenance is like 30,000, at least 30,000 a year. I heard from some horse
Oh, I don't,
owners.
well,
I'm not
well,
sure.
just moving the hay and the poo and all that stuff. That's the hard part.
Yeah, but they're beautiful, beautiful animals. I love the horses. Every time I see, well, one of my friend always sends me like horse memes of running around on the beach, all beautiful and everything, like so cute. And my stepdad loves the horses. Like we just love horses. And I don't know, it's just energetically, I don't know why I'm connected to them. I don't know. I heard they're even telepathic too. You can communicate with them.
Because before I started doing stuff like this, I remember sitting in the barn and I would cry, and she would literally come and lay her head in my lap
Mm.
just so I could hold her. And I mean, they know. I mean, I know they know, and it's just beautiful. So to
Oh,
take care of them, the best that you can. And it works, dogs and cats and all that. I got great stories on my dogs because he's in
oh.
between.
I love all
My mom
animals.
left. My heart's breaking and I'm gonna potty everywhere. I'm telling you.
Your dog and my cat must have been talking because that's exactly what my cat does.
They get
Well,
mad at us for leaving.
oh my goodness. Mine got mad. Okay, because we traveled, but we have a cat sitter that would come to the house and play with the cat. And so she's come twice before. And when we came back home, we were in Denver and we came back home and the cat was like love hating me, like coming near me and then smack. Come close and smack. I'm like, well, thank you, I guess. You miss me, but you hate me that I left you.
Why did you leave me? I love you. Why did you leave me?
I,
Don't you
I
know?
swear, animals are amazing. Oh, I'm just a big fur mommy too. I have my kids, but then I have my animals too.
Got my two horses, and then I've got two pit bulls, and then I've
Oh,
got
wow.
17 chickens.
Okay, so I want to own chickens too. So my goal is to have a mini farm. It's not going to happen here when I'm living here in the Bay Area in California. I want a small farm where I have chickens and I want bees to produce honey and I want, of course, to grow all my fruits and vegetables. And well, there's something else, but I forget. And yes, I want it because I want a small, simple life. I'm tired of this city life. I don't like
Yeah.
it.
Well, I would recommend the Orpingtons. Those are the most lovable chickens.
Orvingtons? Okay, I'll have to write that down.
Yeah, they're just, I had my Toonie, I had her for 8 years, and she was the boss, but I mean, she was just so lovable. You come near, she said, "Okay, pick me up."
Oh, I love all animals and plants too. I didn't realize I would love plants, but I love plants and I'm just very connected to Earth, the creation, the creator that has created all of these beautiful things for us. Like we don't
I think
need
that's what we're
to,
supposed to get back to is,
right? Exactly.
all of that. But, taking care,
Yes.
we've just extended the garden. I've got my fruit trees put in. Had my
Oh,
first harvest of peaches this year. It was
oh
so good.
wow. It's exciting. That's why I was sharing with you. I was so sad about one of my apple trees dying a long time ago. I was like, no.
Right? I mean, after that's a lot of work to get them up and growing, but it's beautiful. I
Yeah,
highly
when they start
recommend
producing things. Yeah.
it. You'll be so surprised of their personalities. Because like all of mine are named after the Harry Potter
Oh,
characters.
how cute.
You watch Bella, Bella
Oh,
Bellatrix and Narcissa.
that's so cute.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
call
They're
her
just part
My
of your
Molly
family.
Wobbles.
Oh,
I do.
they feel the love.
It's so much more personality than you would ever thought in a chicken.
Yes. I
But
love it all. Yeah, but last question, how do you see the emotion, body, and belief code evolving in the future? Because this is exciting. Like, because normally I would know this by now, but I this is new to me. And what do you actually hope it can achieve on a larger scale?
a lot people being stuck.
Hmm.
I mean, because I think we get stuck in patterns, we get stuck in emotions, and just stepping into it simply to get you past that. There's like a lot of my clients, of course, they'll come back for more than one session, but it's just like, okay, now, you can start working on this yourself. If you get stuck, come back and see me and let's see what's happening. But, to get people moving in the direction to being more open and at ease and loving themselves,
Yeah.
to where we're not constantly beating up on ourselves and reliving, because there's something in here, it's called a memory field. And it's like a moment in time that you keep reliving.
Mhm.
And then once you go and you release the emotions behind that, and then be able to release the memory field, it doesn't have the same, you don't forget, but it doesn't have the same effect on you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like a moment in time that you've relived, just let it go.
Yeah. An example of that is where I can think about what had happened to me, but now I'm not affected by it. I'm just like,
Yeah.
gross. Okay. Well,
It
gross.
doesn't have that same power
Yeah. It
that it
doesn't
used.
like beat me down to the ground where I'm like angry and just erratic and just upset.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm just like, okay, you know what? I actually forgive him. I
Mhm.
forgive you. You're a human being here on earth. I get it. I get
Right.
it. And then
It's
I
not
move on.
easy.
And
And
I move on.
this just helps, it helps kind of move the process along to get there. Because like when we worked on you, you didn't have those traumas out there, but it was had a like a little pinch of stopping you healing. So
Hmm.
that's what I mean. Like when you go into a trauma, you have to get everything behind it. So you got all this stuff, and we just had one little thing here that we had to get rid of to be done.
What I was so impressed is that you found something when I was in my mother's womb, and her emotion was passed on to me on a soul level.
Yeah. That can
That
happen.
was neat. I shared that with my husband, and he's very skeptical about everything. He's like, whatever. I'm just can barely get him to start breathing with me. And finally he's starting to do that, so which is great. But he's very skeptical. But I shared him with that. He's like, that's nice. I said, but you don't understand. Isn't that so cool? Like,
It is, and we work on, or I work on like inherited emotions, and sometimes you get inherited miasms, like sicknesses that pass down through the family.
Yeah.
That's how they get there,
Yeah.
is that miasm that's being held in the body just keeps getting passed on to each generation, which time is
Yeah.
irrelevant. So we can go back to whomever started it, release it from who started it, and then each generation and forward to free up the family.
Wow.
That's why the ones who are doing the work, we're healing our families too.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. That makes sense. Now I'm thinking back when I was pregnant with my boys and the trauma that I was experiencing during those times. I'm like, "Oh shoot, I hope I didn't pass anything down." But now that I've worked on myself and I'm becoming a better person every day, I'm sharing that with the children and they're changing and I communicate with them completely different than how I used to when I was in my sickness. It's completely different and I feel like they recognize that and they're appreciative. They're so cute.
Definitely, it's the work is worth it. I
Yeah.
mean, when you're in the middle of it, sometimes it doesn't feel like it, but in the end, it's well worth it. Keep
I always
going.
say the work works.
The work does work. Just keep going, keep going. You've got this.
Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing this with us. Can you please share with our listeners how they can go ahead and connect with you to book a session, just to even find you even on social media?
Yeah, well, I'm at Energy Work with Jeannie, JEANNE.com. That will take you to my website where you can book or any of that. I am on Facebook for the same thing, Energy Work with Jeannie, and I'm on TikTok, Energy Work with Jeannie. And I try to come on every once in a while and like tell some of the cooler stories, because like one of my dog stories with my brother was awesome. We were down in the Keys and he wanted to adopt a dog. And I mean, he just wasn't having it. This dog was staying under the chair, just barking, 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 like, hell no, stay away. Well, long story short, I'm like, I'm just gonna run out to the truck real quick and work on him. And literally, as soon as I walked back into the door, he jumped, like up on me. And they stopped barking and he come and he started visiting everybody. It was like it just
Oh,
changed him, and that it just I just can't tell you how awesome it is.
oh, that is so
But it can do
awesome.
that for humans too. Bring
Yes.
you ease. Bring you ease.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Any last words, anything else you'd like to share?
No, I would just come and see me. If you're ready to start that journey or just give it another jump kick in the right direction. You'll love it, I promise.
Yes, definitely take advantage, audience, because I am feeling much better than I was yesterday, and it's only been day one for me. So this is amazing. Thank you so much, Jeannie.
I thank you so much for having me.